in an attempt to try to like bring this abstract, it's abstract when we talk about it, right? We're talking about the money and the financial system and how it influences us psychologically. In the attempt to bring that down to earth and make it real and visceral for people, I really liked how you focused on how money might impact our health or even the parent-child bond. I thought this was very profound. This is something a lot of people can relate to, right? We have, well, there's a lot of health issues going on in the world today, from addiction, autoimmune disease, etc. There's a big kind of counter movement against that, with people going back towards ancestral diets, away from, modern fiat foods. And then also, well, everyone that's a parent can obviously relate to the parent-child bond issues, where, inflation is actually forcing you to work more and therefore robbing you of the time you could otherwise spend with your children. How can we look at this dynamic of corrupt money in a way that can sort of bring it down to earth for people through the lens of health and the parent-child bond?
This is probably one of my favorite areas to discuss. And what is so amazing to see, and I feel really humbled to have this experience, is that when I released the book, I've had a lot of individuals reach out to me who have said, I've been trying to get my partner down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin, and they're not interested. I've given them Saifedean's books. I've given them you name it's books. And unfortunately, it's just a little too dense or a little too heavy or economic focused or theory focused. And ultimately, I think in order to be able to support people, you need to be able to meet them where they're at.
Yes.
And so when you can bring money down to the social layer, when we can understand how it's impacting us personally, behaviorally, in our relationships, that's when it becomes relatable. And so the first thing I'll start with is money is the number one stressor globally. In the States, it's something like 76% of individuals face monetary stress.
Yeah.
And it is in relationships, it's the number 2 leading cause of divorce.
I believe that.
And that's behind kind of adultery.
Yeah.
And so when you think about money being kind of this number one cause of stress, and that stress is felt viscerally throughout the body. When we're stressed, we emit stress hormones that impact our health, our ability to focus on the present. We're stuck in the past. Well, this leads to a huge impact on our relationships, whether that's with ourselves or with our kids. And so I'll bring up the next chart there. Yeah, so this is showing Canada, but it's the same in the States. It's the same in Japan. It's the same in most countries. On the left-hand side, on the black, you are seeing 1976, and the gray you're looking at, I think it's 2015.
Yeah.
What we've seen is dual earner households have seen a doubling since 1976 to 2015, while single earner households have seen a halving.
Wow.
And so in 1976, just post the departure off the gold standard, even as an individual wanting to support their family, and that includes even your partner, to be able to buy a house, to be able to buy a car, maybe go on 1 or 2 holidays a year, that was somewhat possible. Today, that is almost impossible. There are very few single earner households today. And so as a result of our money losing purchasing power, causing the cost of living to increase, causing house prices to rise exponentially, you're now having both parents having to go out and work. So if both parents having to go out and work, well, that means that's less time with them spending time with their kids.
Right.
And so kids are spending more time with their peers.
Yeah.
Well, the challenge is peer relationships. Yes, there's many benefits to peer relationships, but when peer relationships are effectively our only relationship because our parents are not around, unfortunately, peer relationships are very superficial. When we're kids, we want to look the same, we want to sound the same, we want to have the same mannerisms. So we end up with a society of conformity, a society that starts to lose its cultural sense because people don't know who they are. They don't know how they want to show up. They're simply trying to fit in because our primary need is attachment. We need to attach. We need to be able to survive. Whereas when we think about a relationship with a parent, if your parent is around, well, they're this guiding compass. They're this kind of moral compass that's already been through life and already has a lot more experience. So they can help ground you so that you can individuate. So you can understand, well, who am I and how do I want to show up?
Yeah.
And so parental relationships are so important at setting that foundation so that when you go and socialize with your peers, you're able to recognize, hey, I'm not trying to hang out with them to sound the same and look the same just because I just want to fit in. I want to show up as I am, and I want to be respected by my friends and my peers. And so having grounding foundational relationships is incredibly important. And not only that, it passes down cultural knowledge. It passes down experience. It passes down how to live off the land, you name it.
Yeah.
And so I think that as we're seeing a breakdown of the parent-child bond because parents are having to work more and spending less time with their kids. Kids are going and spending more time with their peers. So it's degrading our ability to individuate, our ability to understand who we are and how we show up.